Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the East Gymnasium here at Fort Lee, where today it's going to be a matchup in the Big North American Division between the Ridgefield Park Scarlets, 5-3 on the season, 1-0 in league play, taking on the Fort Lee Bridgemen, 1-7 on the season, and 0-2 in league play. Hello, everyone. I'm Dan Long, and joined here today by a legendary coach here in these parts, and head coach John Ziemba. And Coach, we're happy to have you here, and it should be a good contest between Fort Lee and Ridgefield Park. These two sides now meeting for the second time this season.
Thanks, Dan. I don't think I've ever been this nervous before a game, but this is it's a rivalry game, conference game, and looking forward to some good action today.
First possession offense is going to be Gakian for Fort Lee, trying to bounce back with a three-pointer. No good. Rebound inside by Jency Reyes. Reyes, number 11 in red. He is the leading scorer for this Scarlet side for Ridgefield Park. Had 25 points in the first meeting against Fort Lee. Here's an elbow jumper miss with Gakian with a rebound. The starters for both sides, as heard by our PA announcer, Mr. Jordan Sarnoff, AJ Huddleston, Siam Safdar, Jency Reyes, Romel Camillo, and Jose Munoz, the 5 in red. As Fort Lee maneuvers here on offense and trying to get by with the layup attempt. No good by Nathan Garcia, as it's going to be Isaiah Stang, Greg Garcia, Nathan Garcia, Rafi Gakian, and Devin Jang, the starting 5 for head coach Adam Schrager in his third season at the helm of the Fort Lee program. Chris Gaskin on the Ridgefield Park sideline, the legendary figure himself. As we are still scoreless.
Coach Gaskin's teams are usually very patient on offense, and they're going to test Fort Lee, make them play off of some screens and some different things. They've been doing a good job so far.
Good defensive move there by Nathan Garcia. He was certainly giving up the size advantage to Camillo. But then the pass is an errant one, goes out of bounds, and it's going to be a turnover for Fort Lee, giving possession back to Ridgefield Park.
Seems like both teams are playing man-to-man. And like I said, the Scarlets, who Coach Gaskin, who I've gone against a number of times, going to run a lot of sets. And, the Bridgemen are going to have to talk a lot on defense to make sure that they know what's coming.
Reyes was fouled in the act of shooting, so that'll send Jency Reyes, the senior, to the line for 2. Leads the team in points per game, assists, and three-pointers made. And he misses the first foul shot to the left side. And like we said, Coach, in the first meeting back on January 26th in the season opener for both teams, Reyes had 25 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists in the win against Fort Lee. But an empty trip there at the charity stripe, 0 for 2.
Jency is their go-to guy, especially at the end of the game. They'll be looking for him. That's unusual for him to miss a couple foul shots.
Garcia working the point, looking to go backdoor here to Stang. Stang, who began on the bench this season, now thrust into the starting lineup as the team's leading scorer, 11.4 points a game. Trying to get past the defender, a hot pass there, a little too hot to handle on the baseline for Greg Garcia, but a good thought there by Stang.
Yeah, the thing is, Fort Lee's already turned it over twice, and they're going to have to get shots up. Otherwise, they're going to have a problem here, because Ridgefield Park is very sound defensively. Very sound. Coach Gaskin prides himself on that man-to-man defense.
And Ridgefield Park was coming off an outstanding season a year ago, 21-8 overall record. They finished 3rd overall in the American Division and advanced to the North 2 Group 2 semifinals. So this is a team that's trying to pick up where they left off a season ago. And a hard take to the rim there by AJ Huddleston. And the senior will earn a chance at the charity stripe as well to try to get the first points of this ball game, as we're more than 2 minutes gone by. Still scoreless between Ridgefield Park and Fort Lee.
Huddleston's another one who's been around for a few years, and he's a veteran guy, veteran player, and it seems like they know how to draw the fouls right now, and they're going to try and frustrate the younger team, the Bridgemen.
Huddleston gets the first point of the game on that first made foul shot. On a season-high 19 in their come-from-behind victory last week against Demarest, as he nets both and knocks it down at the foul line. And it's now a 2-0 lead, Coach, for the visitors from Ridgefield Park, trying to extend a season-high 2-game win streak right now and trying to make it 3 in a row and try to win for the 4th time in this series against Fort Lee, and yet another turnover here against the Bridgemen.
See, the Scarlets are just very sound on defense. And, I had talked to Chris earlier in the year, and, he hasn't gotten as much practice time. So I think they've really been trying to get back to that old defensive team that they were, because that's what they pride themselves on.
As it's now Safdar looking straight away for a long-range 3 and knocked down there by Jose Muniz.
There's a set play right there, like I talked about. They will run stuff, and it's a little difficult to scout that stuff this year because you're playing, a lot of days in a row. Or there's a nice offensive rebound.
As Ogadegbe coming off the bench now finally gets Fort Lee on the board, and they trail 5-2. We're saying, Coach, as you obviously have had your way here as a coach at Fort Lee and currently at Emerson, how difficult has it been to get prepared for this season, as it is unlike any other that we have known?
It's put it this way, you just got to try to. You can't do as many things as we normally do. I usually try to change defenses on every possession. There's a steal by Huddleston. I believe that's their 4th turnover. But you have to limit everything you're doing. Out of bounds plays, set plays, everything, and you have to really rely on your defense and your energy. And I think it's frustrated a lot of teams. And I would think a younger team like Coach Schrager's team here, it's really tough for them. It's really tough. A veteran team, I think, is just got a big advantage in a year like this.
Kind of know the ropes and what needs to be done in this shortened season, to say the least, as Huddleston is one of those senior leaders, who has 4 of Ridgefield Park, 7 points to start off the game here. 7-2 lead for the visitors with under 3.5 minutes left to go here in the first quarter of play.
Here they come with a set play again. They played it well.
As Gakian was marking off the baseline there and trying to force it out around the perimeter. Again, a long sustained offensive possession here. The Ridgefield Park side that averages 52
They just want to break you
games.
down. I mean, that's a little bit of a force. Coach Gaskin won't like that shot because he'd rather just keep running his offense until the other team breaks down.
Here's Stang the other way with Fort Lee. Ogadegbe, who had 20 points against Ridgefield Park in that season opening loss on the road. Missing there as he has the lone bucket of this first quarter for Fort Lee. Good defense there by the Bridgemen. Last touch off of Fort Lee, so it's going to be possession staying here with a substitute checking to the game for Coach Schrager in Fort Lee.
Ogadegbe is a very talented player. He was in the grammar school that I taught in phys ed, and I tell you, for a young kid, I never saw a kid handle the ball like he could. Very talented, but again, young kid, young player.
Ogadegbe, who leads the team with assists per game as well as steals, now coming off the bench after being a part of the starting lineup to begin this season. He's going to be called on right now to run the show here and try to set up the offense for Fort Lee. Stuck on 2 points here in the latter stages of the first quarter. Works around the perimeter. Now to Ogadegbe. Huddleston defending. Laying it off. Here's a pull-up jumper, mid-range. Does not fall for Xavier Martinez, who had just checked into the game.
That was a good possession, though, for the Bridgemen. They got a wide open shot there. They're just going to have to make those shots.
Here's Reyes now holding on as Ogadegbe defends him. Hesitation move and just missing the runner inside was Camillo, the second leading scorer for Ridgefield Park. So points at a premium as we come up on the final 90 seconds of the quarter, and that is an offensive foul.
I was just going to say, somebody's got to take a charge. It's like the lost start. I thought they could have got a couple on Ridgefield Park already, but the charge is one of the biggest plays in the game, I think. I feel it just changed a lot of momentum. And when you have a team that steps in, it helps your defense. That was a nice play.
Third team foul against Fort Lee. And that's going to be the first personal foul against Stang, picking up the offensive foul there. 7-2 advantage still for Ridgefield Park as we're nearing the final minute of the first. And a nice take inside and the first bucket of the afternoon for Reyes.
Reyes isn't a big kid, but he plays a lot bigger because he's strong and he's quick off his feet.
The final minute now of the first quarter. 9-2 deficit facing Fort Lee. Stepping on the three-point line and crossing over and swishing it home is Ogadegbe. He has all of Fort Lee's 4 points.
See, Ogadegbe can make his own shot, and against a team like Ridgefield Park, you've got to be able to do that because that's what they're going to force you to do.
Safdar giving it over to Reyes. Reyes, nice scoop shot. A little English on that one. Rolls it home. He now has back-to-back buckets. Back to a 7-point lead for Ridgefield Park. Ogadegbe trying to answer. Nathan Garcia sails high to secure the offensive board.
Should try for the last shot here. I've seen this go bad a lot of times. I know my teams, if we shoot early, we usually get caught at the end with a three. That's a nice way to hopefully finish the quarter.
Garcia getting his first basket. Here's Reyes from half court, just short. And that'll be the last bucket of the first quarter with Fort Lee now trailing 11-6. A nice response there, Coach, at the end by the Bridgemen, but obviously Ridgefield Park racing out to an early advantage.
That play before the quarter is a big play for Fort Lee because, like I said, veteran teams usually will control it to the end, and they did that there. They scored with 5 seconds, but the best thing Ridgefield Park could do is a half-court shot. That's that's a great possession. All right, it's a great possession to start the quarter and keep them hanging around the game.
Now, Coach, if you were in the Fort Lee huddle right now, what are you stressing to your team? Are you happy with what you've been seeing defensively and holding the Scarlets to only 11 points on offense in that first quarter? How do you get your offense going?
Well, first of all, the 11 points is good. 11 points. What I see in Fort Lee is they're standing around a little bit, it seems like, and they're waiting for a penetration and kick because that's what they normally do. But Ridgefield Park is very sound defensively, and it's going to be hard to penetrate and kick to an open three-point shooter.
As we get underway to start the second quarter of play, Dan Long joined here today by Coach John Ziemba, legendary coach with over 300 victories in his time. And right away, starting off the second quarter in style, it's Muniz again with another triple. He has a game-high 6 points for Ridgefield Park.
And there you see it, a set play right out of the quarter. Coach Gaskin draws it up, works perfectly, and the kid makes Coach look good by banging in three.
As Ogadegbe looking for an outlet, getting into the hands of Nish Seth. Missing that shot on the runner. And here's Reyes and company pushing it the other way. He had 4 points in the first quarter for the leading scorer for the Ridgefield Park Scarlets. Looking for their 6th win of the season here today, and there's another three. Red hot start to the second quarter for the visitors as they've banged in back-to-back triples and now lead 17-6.
That's Camilo Romel, and he's got a lot of talent. I didn't know he could step out like that and hit that shot, but that's...
As a whistle sounds, as Camilo, who averages 14 points a game, getting on the board with that triple. Nathan Garcia will check back into the game for Chris Seth, who had just come back in for Fort Lee. Largest deficit of the first half right now for the Bridgemen, trailing 17-6 with 6:51 left to go in the first half. That was kind of thrown to no man's land. It lands into the hands of Ridgefield Park. Another Fort Lee turnover here in the first half. Reyes working around the perimeter. Extra pass finds a wide open man for three. Knockdown. Jose Muniz, his third three-pointer of the game, and you have to love that unselfish play in the perimeter for Ridgefield Park.
You had two guys before that who were open, but the guy who shot it was even more open, and that's a sign of a veteran team who doesn't care about who gets the points.
Ogadegbe missing from the perimeter. Camilo with a rebound. And here come the Scarlets. They were held to only 11 points in the first quarter already, Coach, erupting for 9 points on 3 made three-pointers here in the opening 2 minutes of the second quarter.
Well, the thing is, too, in defense of Fort Lee, when you're not scoring, it's hard to keep that defensive intensity up. It happens with every team, and especially a young team. Their defensive intensity has dropped off than it was the first 2-3 minutes of the game, and Ridgefield Park will take advantage of that.
And Ridgefield Park is also red hot from their jump shots. as they have knocked down quickly 4 made jumpers, 3 of which coming from three-point range. That last jumper made by Reyes, giving him already 6 points here in the first half of play. And the lead has swollen to 22-6 as it's an 11-0 start to this quarter for the visiting Ridgefield Park Scarlets. They have won 3 straight meetings against Fort Lee. The last win for Fort Lee in this series came back on February 13th, 2019. A win here at East Gym, 60-56. So it's been a kind of a different stretch of games here. 3 straight in this series for Ridgefield Park. Before that, Fort Lee had won 4 in a row against the Scarlets. And Fort Lee's going to have some work in front of them here to get back in this one as they trail early, 22-6.
What I usually tell a team like this, you got to try to just break it down and say, hey, listen, let's get this under 10 at the half. You got to try to be realistic and just give them a little hope and get it under 10. Oh boy, there we go. There's a charge. I'm telling you, that's a huge play. And once the kids see the referees are calling a charge too, then you really got to start stepping in because. See, again, coach might not like that call, but as long as they're calling it both ways, that's something you got to live with.
And I guess after seeing how Ogadegbe came in was a factor offensively for Fort Lee, Ridgefield Park on defense, you're going to anticipate his drives to the rim and to set him up for the offensive foul. Yes,
that's exactly what happened there. And Ridgefield Park is, like I said, they're sound, and they're going to be waiting for him. And, he's dribbling the ball a little bit too much right now, and I think their offense is just kind of stagnant.
Camillo missed it on the other end, nearly an offensive rebound into the hands of Reyes. Here's Jang, who's been impressive in his freshman season and the varsity for Fort Lee. Devin Jang, number 45, tied with Isaiah Stang for the lead. The team lead, by the way, in terms of points per game, 11.4, and he's been deadly from downtown. 23 made three-pointers for this freshman.
And you said it, freshman, and look who's guarding him. Now you got a kid like Jency Reyes who's, these guys are men. They're 18 years old, They've been around, and, it's a big advantage for Ridgefield Park. And the kid will learn from that. He'll be better down the road, but this is going to be a tough day maybe for him.
That was the first three-point attempt for Jang, off the mark there, and rebounded by Ridgefield Park. Siam Safdar, number 5, now working around the perimeter. Here's a pull-up jumper right in front of the Fort Lee bench, no good. Tipped out for an extra possession, no good on the layup attempt, and Stang secures the rebound. Fort Lee fortunate on the last defensive possession not to surrender any additional points. Here's Ogadegbe. Giving it to Graham, tries the reverse layup, left it a little short as Quentin Graham, number 44, has come into the game to try to provide a little more size for Coach Schrager off the bench. 3:42 and counting left to go here in the second quarter of play. You're watching Fort Lee boys basketball on the Fort Lee YouTube live channel. Little shake and bake move with a pullback jumper, no good.
It's a nice rebound by Stang. He's got to get going. He's got to score some points for them.
I think he heard you, Coach, as he took it himself coast to coast and drew the foul in the process. So it's going to be Isaiah Stang, number 1, heading to the foul line for 2.
I'll give you a quick story about Stang. His father played for me here at Fort Lee a little while ago. I say played for me. He didn't play that much, but his son looks like a heck of a player, and his dad and I are good friends, and I'm very happy for him to have his son. He's very proud of his son. His son's going to be a real good player here.
11.4 points per game for Stang as he knocks down both foul shots for his first 2 points of the game. Had 9 points in that first meeting against Ridgefield Park. Had a season-high 19 in the Fort Lee victory here against West Milford. Only a sophomore, Isaiah Stang, as you mentioned, Coach, a very young Fort Lee side for Coach Schrager this season. Trying to grow and learn on the fly against teams like Ridgefield Park that most of this core for Coach Gaskin are senior-laden.
See, that's the thing, too. Fort Lee, like all of us, they missed the summer. They didn't play together, and it's a young team, and it's just very difficult. This is a difficult matchup for them. Ridgefield Park will milk the clock for a layup, It's this, not being able to practice every day and be consistent is tough for a young team.
Here's Reyes. Picks up the dribble, looking for an outlet here as Ogadegbe watches closely. Huddleston takes his man off the dribble, trying to draw the contact we play on, and Gakian secures the rebound. Good defensive stop there for the Bridgemen.
Great defensive possession. They didn't wear down. They didn't gamble. And that shot should go in most cases. When you play defense like that, you hope you can get that three. And, that would have helped them a lot. Now you see what kind of energy they got because they just haven't been able to score.
And at the end of that play there, it was Kyle Kachamuse, number 4, who tried to knock down the three. And Gakian get called for the over-the-back foul, trying to secure the offensive rebound. 5 team fouls now in the half. For Fort Lee, only 2 fouls committed by Ridgefield Park here in the first half. Under 2 minutes left to go in the half. Trying to reverse layup, and after a hot start from downtown, the knees struggling from in close. A little out of control again by Kachamuse. And now Ridgefield Park back with the possession, and Coach Gaskin calling to slow it down a little bit.
Yeah, Coach Gaskin will not let them get out of control. Believe me, I've seen you don't want to fall behind Ridgefield Park. You want to play ahead of them.
Trying to force feed the post inside.
Yeah, that's the first real play they forced.
Ogadegbe in the open floor, a little wild there, and a good recovery defense in the block by number 15, Matt Verselli. As Ridgefield Park just doing the little things right now as there's a timeout on the floor with 1:14 left to go in the second quarter. And Ridgefield Park on top of Fort Lee by a score of 22-8, but just those couple of inches that you've always mentioned, Coach. On one end, good defensive work by Fort Lee, but then not being able to convert in transition, and you see the defensive play made by the Scarlets.
Well, Fort Lee just had, they played great defense. They just had an open three and a couple layups, and that game's under 10, where I said you want to go in at halftime under 10. Maybe it's 22-13 or 22-14 now, and I believe it's Fort Lee ball underneath. They've done a good job. They just can't, they can't get a basket. What's Rafi's number? Rafi is number 42. He's also made a lot of threes, but he's not getting any looks.
This has been a Fort Lee side that, again, if you had said coming into this game, they've held Ridgefield Park to 22 points late in the second quarter. You'd think that the Bridgemen would be in good position, but only 2 points scored so far this second quarter by Fort Lee after producing only 6 in the first quarter. Ogadegbe's three no good. Great hustle, though, by Nathan Garcia, and we're under a minute left to go in the first half.
Fort Lee needs a basket here. They need a basket, and I tell you, they'll have a good defensive possession now. Let's see how they dig in. They got a little life now.
There's a big three
and
there
Gaskin's going to call a set.
Isaiah Stang. And they've pulled to within 11, 22-11. And now Huddleston will take a little air out of the basketball near us at half court with 30 seconds left to go in the first half of play. Stang leading the way for Fort Lee with 5 points in this first half, and that was a 3-point range from college. How deep he shot that one and netted home that one for the Bridgemen. So again, it looks like it's going to be one final shot of the first half for Ridgefield Park. Fort Lee not electing to extend their defense out against Huddleston. He now goes with 6 seconds on the clock. Kick out for a three. No good by Reyes. Gakian with a rebound. Squirts free. And that'll do it for the first half of play. 22-11, Coach, in a very low-scoring first half. But you have to like the defensive effort for Fort Lee. How do they get going offensively? That's going to be the conundrum that Coach is going to try to think about here at halftime.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm very impressed with Fort Lee's defense. They did not let down defensively. When you have 11 points, it's tough to keep that intensity, and they played hard defensively. I don't know if they're going to have to try to maybe do a little pressure, but again, it's hard to pressure when you don't score. But they need to get this game a little more in the open court. Every time they come down the court, Ridgefield Park's defense is set, and when their defense is set, it's tough to score.
So we're at halftime, fans, where it's Ridgefield Park on top of Fort Lee by a score of 22-11. Stay with us as we'll be coming back to start the second half of play as you're watching Fort Lee boys basketball coverage here on YouTube Live. Welcome back, everybody, for the start of the second half of play with Ridgefield Park on top of Fort Lee by a score of 22-11 as we're about to start the third quarter. Dan Long joined alongside by John Ziemba. Happy that he could join us here on Fort Lee's broadcast on YouTube Live. And, Coach, we got what we needed from the defense from Fort Lee in the first half. Now the adjustments have to be made here on the offensive end to get the Bridgemen back in the thick of things.
Well, we'll see what Coach Schrager came up with, but, I mean, like I said, the job for them was to cut it to 10. They cut it to 11, but the thing is they can't let Ridgefield Park make a spurt here. Otherwise, I don't think they'll have enough to come back. They got to get this under 10 right now.
Stang led the way in the first half for Fort Lee with 5 points as Gakian missing the point in the paint attempt, and it's rebounded by Ridgefield Park.
That's the ones they got to make. That's a nice possession. Shot right at the basket in low, and, you got to make those. Now they need to stop.
Jose Muniz, number 24, who's in that far corner, led the scoring for Ridgefield Park in the first half with 9 points on 3 made three-pointers. Camillo getting it up top to Huddleston. Working around to the leading scorer, Reyes. Reyes had 6 points in that first half for the Scarlets, who scored 11 points in the first quarter, 11 also in the second, and allowed only 11 total points defensively in that first half. Drive inside, laying it high off the glass and in by Siam Safdar, the senior.
See, that's about a minute off the clock. That's a layup, and there's your charge. Great defense. And what they do is if you shoot too fast, you're going to be on defense for another minute. It's hard. It's hard. Coach Gaskin hasn't won this many games without knowing, what to do.
Offensive foul whistle there against Ben Ogadegbe, his second, team's first to begin this second half. And it looks like it's going to be a warning against Adam Schrager, the head coach of Fort Lee. So the next one would result in a potential technical foul. I know something that you are not used to in technical fouls in your long coaching career. You always agree with the referees.
I got a few when I was up here at Fort Lee. There's a shot by Camille. They put me on a restriction in Emerson and gave me a little warning. And I have had a few run-ins with the officials. And I know the frustration Coach Schrager's going through, though, with a young team like this.
Trying to get it inside to Gakian. Again, he carved out the space, and that's a good sign there for Fort Lee. Finally getting some points from Rafi Gakian, number 42, and getting points inside.
Good to see by Gakian because he could have been frustrated off the last miss, and he battled for that. That's a nice play by him.
13-point lead now grows. Has a nice drive there, and the lefty finish by Jency Reyes. Reyes with 8 points. 28-13 lead now. Garcia taking his man off the dribble, and Gakian carving out again some space inside as he quickly has 4 points here in the third quarter.
I think I said to you at halftime, Gakian only shoots the 3. He just quieted me down right away. That's a nice play by him. And he seems to be the guy on defense that's doing a lot of talking, trying to get them back in the game. Still in the game.
Stang picked up the foul from behind. He was trying to poach the basketball free.
Coach Gaskin has a lot of good inbounds plays. A lot of good inbounds plays against man-to-man. They were ready for that.
Reyes pulls up from 15. No good as he tries to get into double digits. It's going to be last touch off of Nathan Garcia, so good hustle there by Camillo to save possession for Ridgefield Park. 5:12 remaining here in the third quarter. 28-15 lead.
Coming back to the inbounder. There it is.
Muniz pulls up from the baseline, no good. Again, Camillo inside, and that time he's going to be fouled and stripped on his way up, as it looks like Gakian might be the culprits, and it's going to be a chance for Romel Camillo, number 21, the junior, who averages 14 points a game, to add to his total here today at the foul line.
See, that Gakian is just having a little trouble controlling Camillo. The guards from Fort Lee got a rebound, and that's also a way they could run. They got to come down and rebound, and that might be a way for them to get out and maybe get an easy basket. but they got to help him out.
Camillo missed the first, but nets down the second. So now Ramel Camillo with 6 points in the game, 29-15 lead for Ridgefield Park. That was Gakian's second foul and the team's third of the second half. Ogadegbe tries a fall-away jump shot, and that quickly leads to a break the other way. And there's Camillo making Fort Lee pay.
And there's the freshman. He's in a bad position there. His only shot is to take a charge, and younger guys, they're just a little hesitant about taking those charges in that situation.
And also, Coach, is that tough because with Ogadegbe's shot, as they try to feed inside Greg Garcia, who draws the foul, not only was it really difficult, the fadeaway jump shot, but it also was early in the possession, so it led to the quick breakout the other way for the Scarlets.
You're exactly right. I tell my guys, when you shoot and no one's really expecting it, your floor balance isn't there, and most of the time you end up like that with nobody back. At least if you shot that off the offense, then they could have had some guys back on defense, and you're exactly right.
Greg Garcia goes 1 of 2 at the line, the 6'3 junior for Fort Lee. It's 31-16 the lead. Little miscommunication defensively, but it leads to an eventual turnover as Garcia got his hands on it. Nathan Garcia, who now has it and is trying to direct where Isaiah Stang should go with it. Stang out 5 points in the first half, still looking for his first points in the second half. Now goes to Gakian. Over to Devin Jang. Jang has been held scoreless in this game so far. He averages over 11 points a game on the season for Fort Lee. Another Bridgman turnover. Gets into the hands of Reyes, who's just a ferocious finisher, and he's now reached double figures with 10 points.
I'm going to have my son watch Reyes play because his left hand has got him about 6 points, and a lot of kids cannot make that kind of play with their left hand, and he's used it about 3 times.
Jang feeding his teammate in the corner for the 3. Greg Garcia's triple is no good. Here's Reyes going to his right hand that time and kissing it off the glass and staring down the freshman afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, there you have a seasoned senior, and just a young kid who he's just learning, and he'll be better because he could really shoot the ball, but shooting and playing defense at this level is 2 different things.
And you can see he's a two-way player too, Coach, because Reyes was the man who just swatted that one out of bounds coming back on defense.
That's a senior, and those are the kind of guys you feel for in a year like this, that they're not going to be able to go to the state tournament.
Things getting a little sloppy in the last couple of offensive possessions for Fort Lee as they turn it over again, 35-16. It's the second meeting of the season between these two. Ridgefield Park 62-49 victors in the opening game of the year on January 26. Inside, Maniz missing, trying to follow his own miss. Good defense into the hands of Stang. Stang ferocious there on the crossover and feeding down low for the layup by Leomar Moquette.
That's a great pass. And they had some numbers there, so they're able to take somebody off the dribble because they got a little bit of a breakout. But that's maybe the second time that's happened.
Now it looks like Fort Lee extending their defense a little bit, not allowing Ridgefield Park to think about dribbling out the time. And that's going to be an air ball attempt from straight away. And it looks like Coach Gaskin wants to talk things over with his side as he's going to call for the timeout with 2:01 remaining here in the third quarter. A 35-18 lead for Ridgefield Park, trying to win their 4th straight in this series against Fort Lee.
Yeah, Coach Gaskin called a quick timeout there. That's the same play we saw in the beginning of the game, but the only difference was the kid was about 3 steps behind the 3-point line there, so he'll just remind them of that. But I like the last play by Fort Lee. They got to try to force some tempo. Otherwise, I just don't think they could score consistently against Ridgefield Park in the half court.
I was impressed, Coach, by the handle there of Isaiah Stang. You saw that crossover. It got him that step past his defender and allowed the defense to slough in, and he found his teammate wide open on the baseline.
That's one of the few times we've seen that. But what Fort Lee likes to do too, they like to penetrate like that and kick for a 3. and they just haven't been able to get that. I can't really remember if they've gotten a wide open three, maybe one or two, where they beat you off the dribble. But that was a nice pass by Stang.
Now, in this situation, Coach, do you try, if you're Coach Schrager of Fort Lee, when you're playing defense and you're seeing that you're down to under 2 minutes left to go in the third, when do you start to be even more aggressive defensively, knowing that you have to speed Ridgefield Park up to get more possessions for your offense?
I think Coach Schrager, with such a young team, this gives them an opportunity to maybe try a little something, that he might not do. Like, maybe he should go into a little diamond or something after a press just to speed him up. And, again, it's a young team, and I think he could try some different things with them. But Ridgefield Park probably will not buy into that.
Ogadegby had a great opportunity again. You could see the athleticism that he had in getting to the basket. It's just been the inability today for Fort Lee to make some layups in close. But they've saved the possession on an offensive rebound by Gakian, and here we go here. Just trying to feed Gakian, and now things starting to get mucked up a little bit down low with another foul called against Ridgefield Park. Now both teams with 3 fouls apiece with 1:24 remaining here in the third quarter.
I tell my guards, I say, you go fast up the court, but once you cross that foul line, and you're between the foul line and the white line, you got to slow down, and you got to get a feel for things. And that looks like the problem that Ogadegby's having. He is so fast, and once he gets into that lane, I think he just needs to slow down a little bit. He's a big, strong kid. I think he'd finish that way, but again, that's easier said than done sitting here.
As Fort Lee trailing 35-18, trying to look for what would be their second win of the season and their first in the Big North American Division this season. Again, fans, only 5 teams in this version of the Big North American, as you're having Dumont, Ridgefield Park, Dwight Morrow, Cliffside Park, and Fort Lee after having a larger 8-team field the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, it's a tough division for Fort Lee. Ridgefield Park, Dumont, and Dwight Morrow are all Jamboree teams. And the Cliffside, even though they graduated a number of guys, Cliffside Fort Lee is just, it's a battle. I don't care who's playing. The two teams usually go at each other harder than they do against most of the other teams. So, for a young team, it's a tough situation. There's like another left-handed layup by Ridgefield Park, and the kid gets fouled, Huddleston.
As that time it looks like it was Gakian trying to block the shot, but getting called for the foul, as that'll send A.J. Huddleston to the line for 2. Had 4 points in that first quarter to give Ridgefield Park an early lead, as he's short on the front rim with that attempt, with 1:04 remaining here in the third. And we were talking before this broadcast, Coach, about your historic battles against Cliffside Park, and that's going to be on the horizon here for Fort Lee, as they now still have their 2 matchups awaiting them against Cliffside Park, and that's something that you always savored in your time here at Fort Lee.
The rivalry with Cliffside, I'll talk about forever. It was the stuff that went on in the bleachers, the stuff that we went into Cliffside one time, and in the locker room there was a rat hanging from and I'm talking a real rat, and he was painted red and white, and there's a nice shot by Stang on a kick out, and it was hanging there, and nobody knew where it came from. They all, nobody knew, but I think they knew. But it was just a little gamesmanship, and we were all friends in the long run, but when we played each other, there was nothing else but just wanting to beat each other, and it was a tremendous rivalry.
And that is the next game on the horizon following this one. But Fort Lee is not done here at home, trying to defend the home court, as Reyes trying to salt away the remaining seconds of this third quarter after Stang had just knocked down the triple for Fort Lee. Stang with a game-high 8 points for the Bridgemen. Here's Reyes, who's in double figures. Getting it right back, 6 seconds left to go. Dropping it down low. Good block inside by Gakian, who's become more active here in the second half, as he has a half-court heave that's off the mark down the other way, but a nice response there by Fort Lee to pull back to within 15, 36-21 as we enter into that fourth quarter of play. But like we said, Coach, that next game at Cliffside Park for Fort Lee, they'll host Cliffside Park on March 2nd as well here at East Gym.
I guarantee you'll see a different type of energy in that game. It's just, the towns are right next to each other, and Cliffside's a young team also. We actually played them in the beginning of the year at Emerson, and we beat them by 5. But I tell you what, typical Cliffside kids, they play very hard. They did not quit, and them in Fort Lee, I think, is a real even matchup. And the kids might be a little more talking going on in that game, but again, you talk about it, it brings back a lot of memories.
And Cliffside Park is a common opponent here also for Ridgefield Park, as the Scarlets are scheduled to host Cliffside Park in their next game on the 23rd. So before that, it's going to be a game tomorrow for Fort Lee at Cliffside Park. And then on the 23rd, the next game for Ridgefield Park will be a home game against Cliffside. As we begin the fourth quarter of play, it's going to be Reyes having that nice touch. You can see how the senior is so good and such a brilliant scorer.
He keeps that dribble down so low, and he's so strong that, it's very tough to stop.
14 points in the game now for Reyes as Stang tried to answer. Here's Jang with another attempt from 3. He's still scoreless in this game.
Tell you, I'm impressed with Rafi. He's battling on the boards more. I've seen a few games, and I think he's really given them a good effort on the boards. Something that I haven't, seen him do that much. I thought he was more of a perimeter player, but he's doing a nice job.
As they work it around, here's another three-pointer from Stang, and Stang
nice
knocking
possession.
it down.
Extra pass, nice possession.
His third three-pointer of the game. He now has reached double figures himself at his season average at 11 points in this one. Only a sophomore, Isaiah Stang.
I think the 11 points were as much as his father scored in his career. And there we go.
A steal forced by Nathan Garcia to Ogadegbe, and Ogadegbe gets it to go.
There's a left hand. Great layup. Step in.
Full court pressure, though,
nice
leads
pass
to the breakout, and the press break leads to the layup the other way for Ridgefield Park.
Fort Lee's got to play this way the rest of the way. That's a shot right up front. Look at this. Fort Lee's got to force the tempo.
And definitely can't allow, with time not being on their side, they can't allow Ridgefield Park to have those minute-long possessions on offense. They have to speed it up.
Yeah, and it's tough to speed them up in the half court, so that's why I think you got to go after them in the full court.
40-26, the lead right now for Ridgefield Park. Jang to Gakian from straight away. Got it! Second leading three-point shooter on the team is Rafi Gakian. His 13th made triple of the season.
Rafi, I am very impressed with Rafi.
7 points for Gakian, all coming here in the second half of play. The lead is now down to only 11, 40-29, with 5:53 and counting left to go in the fourth quarter of play. Reyes getting it off to Safdar. He was thinking about the jump shot, elected better to pass it off to Huddleston.
He's going to make him work here.
Huddleston maneuvering through the heart of the defense and draws the foul.
The charge too. There's not a lot of shot blockers out there. You got to step in.
Drawing a charge, though, Coach, that's kind of like a lost art. Not a lot of people. It's not the thing that people remind you of, and obviously the cool thing for a lot is to be able to block that shot away emphatically. But taking a charge, that gets the job done even more so.
It gets a foul usually on one of the other team's scorers, and the referees are told to call it. You don't see how many times you've seen a block call with the two hands on the hip. How many times you see they love calling the charge.
So after Huddleston missed his second foul shot attempt, it's Camillo with the putback finish, a three-point possession there for the Scarlets. They extend their lead back to 14, 43-29. Garcia tries his wares from 3, no good. Jang was thinking about it himself. leads the team with 23 made three-pointers this season, but has not been able to get anything down today. Nice up and under move for Isaiah Stang.
I tell you what, I'm impressed with Fort Lee. They're not quitting. Gakian's doing a job. Stang scored that basket. He should be telling Gakian thanks because he did the hard work, and Stang made a nice left-handed move again.
Gakian trying to defend Reyes, who went up and under the other way in the reverse layup, just too high, and he missed it. Back to a 12-point lead. Stang trying to draw the contact, gets the man up in the air. Nathan Garcia from three, no good. Stang crashes the offensive glass inside, draws the contact, and Isaiah Stang will head to the line to try to make this a 10-point lead for Ridgefield Park.
Fort Lee's got a little life, and Ogadegby and Stang could take most people off the dribble, and they're doing it because Ridgefield Park's defense hasn't really been able to get set. And Gakian's just done a great job on the boards.
Isaiah Stang with 9 points coming here in the second half. He had 5 points at the break. 14 in the game after he goes 1 of 2, so it goes back to an 11-point spread. 43-32 with 4:22 and counting left to go here in the fourth quarter from the East Gym at Fort Lee. Maniz, here comes the double team. Over to the near side. Safdar picking up the dribble, back to Maniz.
See, these guys are well coached because most kids would have taken that shot. But Safgar, I think you said, number 5, he knows coach doesn't want that. A lot of kids would have shot that ball, and that could have led to a breakout for Fort Lee.
That's why Ridgefield Park, 26-11, dating back to the beginning of last season. Great team offense. Getting it to Reyes, missing it. Fight for the loose ball. A lot of steps there. And finally, the traveling violation is whistled. Possession going back, coach, to Fort Lee. 3:39 remaining. And a chance here for the Bridgemen to make it a single-digit deficit.
Yeah, if they could. But here's where it's tough because they're set now on defense. So let's see what they do.
Gakian at the scorers table waiting to come in. There's a long-distance three, no good. And because Gakian's not there, you really don't have an opportunity to secure the offensive rebound. It goes out of bounds. It will now be possession going back to Ridgefield Park.
See, what I would tell Stang is you could get that shot anytime. Anytime. That's a bomb. That's a long one. Maybe you reverse it one time and you get a little better look.
Just when it looked like it was possibly going to be a 5-second call, it's going to be a timeout awarded to Coach Chris Gaskin, as Ridgefield Park will call for the 30-second timeout, as Fort Lee trying to speed things up with a full court pressure. With 3:20 remaining here in the fourth quarter of play, 43-32 lead for Ridgefield Park. They've led throughout this game as they're trying to go to 6-3 on the season with a win. Fort Lee trying to get their second victory of this 2021 season. As it's Dan Long joined alongside by Coach John Ziemba. And Coach, it's been such a pleasure to have you here courtside. If you're Fort Lee, are you still harping on that full court pressure, even if it leads to breakouts in 2-on-1s the other way, just knowing that time is of the essence?
You have to give it a shot. You have to try it. And again, Coach Schrager, he's really playing, as much as these kids want to win this game, he's playing for next year. He wants these, this is all just experience that these kids are getting. And there's unselfish, again, by number 5. Not forcing it.
Safdar had an opportunity to take it himself, elected for the better pass, and that led to the easy 2 points for Camillo. Like you said, it's that difference between the underclassmen and the upperclassmen, as this Ridgefield Park team has it in spades of experience.
See, right there, Gakian's wide open on the perimeter, and Stang didn't see him. And it's tough because you get in there and you obviously guys are coming at you, but that's, Ridgefield Park has been making those plays. There's Jang. He's just a little off today.
Still has not been able to get it going, but a turnover forced by Ogadegby. Gakian tries his luck from 3, no good. And now it's going to be outletted to Huddleston. And Gaskin immediately telling his team to put on the brakes.
Yeah, if Huddleston would have went in there, Gaskin might have charged him.
Oh, and what a beautiful bounce pass there from Reyes on the block to Camillo.
That's why. because he knows they're going to start gambling.
Lead back to 15, 47-32. Jang looking for Stang going backdoor.
Gakian's wide open in the corner.
Here he goes.
Oh, boy.
Short on that attempt. Stang with a follow-up, missing that layup. And here comes Huddleston again. Will elect to pull it out. Run a little more clock with 2 minutes left to go in this game. And a 47-32 lead. 5 team fouls against Fort Lee. Now it's going to be a reach-in foul, making it 6. So they have one more foul to give before that would send Ridgefield Park to the single bonus.
Now, Fort Lee will learn from this, and that's what you want. I mean, these games in this short kind of year, this is important for these guys to play against teams like this.
Leading scorers in this game, Reyes and Camilo with 14 points apiece for Ridgefield Park, and Isaiah Stang with 14 to lead the way for Fort Lee. Here's Reyes again, extra pass finding Camilo, as Camilo has feasted inside. He has 8 points in this fourth quarter alone. Beautiful assist by Reyes.
Reyes, he's what you call a stat eater, I guess. He's going to come out with most games with 13 to 15 points, 5 or 6 rebounds, 5 or 6 assists, and a couple hustle plays, and that's why, you know, he's probably their most valuable player. Gakian's just a little off from the perimeter.
Here's Reyes.
Left hand, boom.
Take it himself. There's the left-hand finish, like you said. Show that to your son, as he has really been adept at both hands. He's been adept as a facilitator and a finisher, and that's why Jency Reyes is averaging just about 18 points a game this season, as it looks like Ridgefield Park is on their way to their 6th win of the season.
Yeah, he's a hell of a player. And when you're not coaching against him, and you really see all the stuff he does by sitting here, he really impressed me today. Really impressed me.
So on the horizon again, fans, for Ridgefield Park in their next game. It's going to be coming on the 23rd, so they'll have a couple of days off. They'll play host to Cliffside Park before traveling to play Dwight Morrow in back-to-back games on the 25th and 26th, and ending the season on the road at Westwood and Dumont. For Fort Lee, they're going to be next taking on Cliffside Park tomorrow, and then traveling to Bergenfield before coming back home to host Northern Highlands on the 27th. As that time, Kachamuse's 3 out of the timeout, no good, but it's going to be deflected off Ridgefield Park. Last possession for Fort Lee, as we'll see the reserves come into the game for both sides.
Yeah, you mentioned Northern Highlands. They were supposed to have a big year this year, and they just played their first game about 3 days ago. And, you know, that's the sad thing about a year like this is, you know, a team like that might have been getting beat a little bit is waiting for this year. They got a great player in the kid Clareman, and you know, there'll be a tough matchup for Fort Lee. But again, they only played one game.
Was that 3 by Chris Seth no good, rebounded by Ridgefield Park, and that's kind of the nature of this crazy year. That it's not even a case of not having enough games, but there's never a guarantee, Coach, of your next game is even going to be played based on what's been transpiring and if teams have to shut down and what's on the horizon. So it kind of makes you, especially if you're a senior team like Ridgefield Park, really embrace and enjoy these type of moments that you have here today.
I don't answer the phone because I always think it's my AD calling to say we're shut. You know, that's what you go through. And, you know, Coach Gaskin, I know he doesn't want the year to end because he likes these kids and his seniors. And I know, you know, again, it's a tough thing, but they play hard. They did a good job. And I give credit to Fort Lee, too. They gave a good effort. They're just basically, you know, it's a veteran team against a young team. And they're a little down now, but I'm telling you, they'll be ready to go against Cliffside tomorrow.
So the final score here, fans, it's Ridgefield Park coming away with a victory 51-32 against Fort Lee. Ridgefield Park will go to 6-3 on the season. With the victory, Fort Lee will fall to 1-8. As Coach mentioned, the next game for Fort Lee against arch rival Cliffside Park tomorrow on the road. And their next home game will be back here at East Gym on the 27th. Coach, your final thoughts here from this game here today. As you said, it was a matchup of veterans versus youth. But it was great to have you back here on the broadcast. And what was it like your first time on the headset here today?
No, I loved it. I had a great time. I always look at Fort Lee as my home. You know, I still teach here, and you know, working with you was tremendous. You helped me out a lot. Like I said, I was a little nervous, but I had a lot of fun. a lot of fun looking at the game, and you see it from a different view than when you're on the sidelines coaching. You're looking for different things, and like I said, I think both teams, it's about what we might have expected with such a veteran team. But I tell you what, Fort Lee's got some, they got a bright future, I think. I think they got a bright future. The guards are very good. They just got to, get a little stronger, and I think they got something to look forward to down the road.
Well, Coach, it was an honor to sit courtside with you, and happy to have you on the broadcast. Hoping to look forward to some opportunities maybe down the road again.
Thank you very much, Dan. I appreciate it, and look forward to watching you hopefully call another Bergen Catholic game this year or something else, I'll follow you, put it that way. I think you do a great job.
Thanks, Coach. And thank you to Jordan Sarnoff, our producer, and thank you to everybody tuning in to watch the student-athletes from both schools. So again, Ridgefield Park is victorious. Thanks for watching Fort Lee Boys Basketball here on YouTube Live.